Yo, yo, yo. Hope you're having a good day. If you're planning to go outside, I would recommend getting a jacket or something. It's pretty cold. The grass is filled with a layer of frost, ice, whatever you want to call it. You don't want to freeze out there. Anyways, before we get into the video and see what Penguin or Charlie has to say about Highguard, let me give you my opinion as someone who was neutral pretty much. I saw it in the game. I saw the whole drama and reacted to it, I think, of it being the last game in the Game Awards. And let's be and I didn't really care about it. If anything, having the shitty games at the end, I personally think that's a good thing. That way I can just watch the first hour or two, go to sleep, and not care about it anymore. Anyways, my three biggest problems with the game are that I didn't play it. Now, and I know it sounds weird, but I was watching a Spanish streamer, Canegro. If you're part of the Spanish community, you probably would know him, at least on Twitch. So I was watching him. I knew the game was free, and it seemed a bit interesting. But even with all that, I still felt no real like drive to install the game and play it. It just didn't reach the threshold of let's give it a try. Which is weird because I'm someone who, if there's like a free game or whatever, I usually at least like give it a small try. You know what I mean? But it just seemed like pretty much Paladins, which I actually pulled up. You start off in your base. You have like a horse. You take it. You go and get some resources, which that part's pretty much the unique part, which is you go and prepare, I guess. Kind of like a Rainbow Siege, where you can reinforce the walls, buy guns and gear, be like Apex. I do have like the notes here, that's why I'm reading them. Then you go to this like payload, you capture it, you push it, and that does some damage to the enemy. But after that like round thing ends, and you get the sword into the enemy base, then it becomes like a CS:GO, or I guess a Valorant, because they have abilities where you have to plant the bomb to do more damage. It's like a mix of a lot of mechanics, which I guess are popular in like a PvP competitive online games. However, none of them are as good as the other games. Like the whole plant the bomb and defend it or whatever is not as good as CS:GO or Valorant. I would say the push the payload like aspect is also not as good as games like Paladin and Overwatch. I think Marvel Rivals also has something similar. I don't think no, it's a what's it? All trick pony? No, it's one trick pony. What's the other one? A master of trades or whatever. No, it has a lot of things, but it's not a master of any. The second problem is optimization. The streamer I watch, the reviews, everything pretty much. Like the biggest negative about it, from what I've seen, is that you can have like a really good specs on your PC and it's just garbage. And let's be honest, it's 2026. People are tired of not being able to play games unless you have like the highest of the high end PCs. It's just not good. Especially because people were getting disconnected randomly, like mid game. So you're gonna be going 2v3, which is like you lose 33 or so percent of your team, right? That sucks. Or when the matches were done, you would get disconnected. It was just a shit show. It's the first day, it's the game launch, and you're having this situation. It's just dog shit. Third problem, and maybe no, it's not the biggest. I feel like the second problem is probably the biggest, which is optimization. The third one is no personality. Just like the first problem, the heroes in the hero shooter are a big part of why people play it. For example, I mean, it's not a hero shooter, but League of Legends. There's people who only play one champion, and they play that every day or every time they even log in every season. If you play Overwatch, you might have one character you just always play, and that's it. I feel like there's none of that there. They're all bland. They're all basic. You have the, shield character, the I go invis character, there's nothing that makes them special design-wise, and ability design-wise, there's nothing special either. Like there's one that has an ult that gives her like knives, and my first thought was, oh wait, that's like a jet from Valorant. Like it's missing heroes. It's missing heroes. Right now they're just NPCs. They're blank. You know what I mean? There's nothing there. There's nothing like why would you play this over like Overwatch, Marbles, and all of that have a you know personality based heroes which you can play. This isn't really that big of a thing. People complained about it being 3v3 because the map was too big or whatever. I do think it's pretty weird that they went that route and not a 5v5. But I'm guessing it's because the reception it got on reveal, right? In the Games Awards, where everyone was hating it. So maybe they last minute went from 5v5 to 3v3, just expecting like low player count. You know what I mean? Even then, like because of the game, the way is made, or like the gameplay is, where you have to be in like a specific zone, then you go to another specific zone. Even with the map being that big, you're realistically always in like small spots, you know what I mean? Like in small skirmishes. So the map doesn't really feel that big. And it's not that big of a problem that it's 3v3 from what I've seen. Anyways, it's basically not a Concord, but it's also not a like a great game. It's the typical five out of 10 game. You play with a friend, you log off, and you never touch again. That's pretty much it. Anyways, now that I gave my opinion without being mind controlled or something into thinking something else, let's start the reaction.
Dusted off the bucket hat for it.
Oh,
It's
it's a bit low.
Highguard release day. I imagine you probably already called in sick for work in order to take as much time as possible to enjoy this game that everyone in the world has
Honestly, if you're in Texas, you probably didn't even go to work, right? A lot of places were shut because of the whole blizzard or whatever thing. People were expecting the electricity to go down as well. Like, isn't that insane? Like, expecting the electricity to go just because the bit cold. Holy shit. These companies, man.
been salivating for since it was revealed at the very end of the Game Awards. Since then, it's been quite a question mark with Highguard
Yeah.
because they got the prime spot
They got the Concord treatment, which to be fair, the game did look like Concord graphically and like design wise. So it's like, eh, you know,
in the Game Awards. out of nowhere, a game no one was expecting, and a genre most people weren't exactly super
Which, by the way, it being the last game to be shown is Jeff Keighley's fault. Because if I'm not remembering wrong, there was supposed to be another game that came out last, but that game was paused or something. Like the game wasn't ready, so he just picked like a random one, right, to put it there.
excited for these
He
days.
should just put Divinity though, because Baldur's Gate 3 was a huge success. People are like super into Larian,
Most people perceived it
so
to be
people would be fine with that being the last one.
a hero shooter, myself
Not to
included, because
mention he teased like for weeks the whole like statue about the Divinity. Sorry about, for pausing so much.
excited for these days. Most people perceived it to be a hero shooter, myself
Yeah,
included, because in the footage they showed,
that's
it
how
looked
they
like it
presented it.
was some type of hero shooter. Most often, compared to like Concord, it wasn't a great trailer, and the position that it was
Yeah.
placed in at the Game Awards made things even worse. They also then went radio silent for over a month up until like a day or two ago, where they
Well, they didn't even release any like hype game footage or like anything to hype the fans up, you know what I mean? Or to hype gamers up into playing the game. Which it's a good strategy and a bad one as well, because let's be honest, anything they release is gonna be criticized. They're gonna just be calling it Concord 2 and all that. But if you don't release anything to hype the players up, players are not gonna play your game. That's about it. Or gamers are not gonna play your game.
finally broke
Like the only reason I think people like played it as much is just because they wanted to see how bad it was. It's like with Concord.
the
If
silence,
Concord re-release, I think it would have a lot of players just because people wanted, want to be like, oh yeah, I played that dog shit.
saying that the
You know?
game is still coming out as advertised, and then finally started, speaking up about it. The game came out today, and it's very clear that this is not a Concord level failure or
Yeah.
anything. It had an all time peak of just under 100,000 players.
I checked this morning, it was 11K or 10K, which is not so bad, but it is a multiplayer game. Again, like the whole 3v3, I think it's because they were expecting something like this when the game was like announced and people hated it. I think that's why they like made it a 3v3. That
Which
way it can function with a low amount of players. After all, you only need 6 players per match.
Concord couldn't have even imagined in their wildest dreams. That game didn't even get to like 1,000 and it died in 2 weeks. It
Yeah.
barely lasted longer than a poop left in a gas station toilet. So this blew it out of
Didn't
the
it get like 200 or so or so? And that's with them like advertising streamers and YouTubers as well. I'm pretty sure I saw some ads there.
water in terms
It's
of
insane.
player count. And I think a large part of that success is because the game is free to play, whereas Concord was
Yeah.
a $40 paywall. So even people that weren't exactly hyped
Didn't Concord it was behind a paywall, then it became like free, right? But people still weren't like buying it or playing it. So they just canceled it, right?
about Highguard, they were at least willing to give it a spin, at least give it a chance. Kind
Yeah.
of. There were some people that literally logged into the game and said this is the biggest pile of dog shit ever, 0 out of 10, throw it in
Yeah.
the trash bin. Without ever even like playing a match, or maybe they did
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of people because the worst about thing about the game, not the worst, but I mean, to be fair, if you try to log into the game and it kicks you out, or you can't log in because the servers are shit, I feel like that's good enough reason to just uninstall and give it a bad review, right? I feel like that's good enough because you're trying to play the game, you couldn't. Yeah,
the
that's a bad
training
review.
and then just said, nope, this is
I don't
terrible.
think you need to like exactly play a match if you can't even do that, right?
I quit. I spit on this garbage.
But there
Which,
are a lot
whatever,
of
I'm not
players who did this where they didn't even play it and they're saying it's garbage. Then again, I also didn't play it and I'm saying it looks like okay. so I'm not one to
Your
talk, right?
fucking dad. If that's how you want to interact with games, all power to you,
Yeah,
man. Pretty much the second this puppy popped out of the oven here, people flocked to Steam to leave scathing reviews on it and post
yeah,
their
like
like
this is dumb.
jokes and memes about how fucking trash it is without
Yeah.
ever even loading into a single match. Right now it's sitting at mostly negative. And of course not all of that is from people
To be fair, when I checked the reviews, a lot of the ones I saw were about the optimization. Just saying they couldn't log in, or they logged in and then they DC'd. Like those were the main ones I saw. I didn't really see any like, oh, it's Conquer 2 and all that. Just to be fair to the reviews, the game came out and it was unplayable. So it makes sense for people to like review it badly.
people just looking to dunk on it because of the whole Game Awards fiasco. There are plenty of things to dislike about it so far, with
Yeah,
my experience. For me, I always like to give things a fair shake, so I actually played
same.
it a little earlier today with Matt and Danny. I have a video up on Moist Critical Gaming if you want
What
to see
is
how our first
this?
match went. And I want to give you like my early thoughts here. I'm going to stream more of it tonight. Real quick though, I want to interrupt to
Oh,
briefly
two
mention something that
two
I've been pretty
streams.
hyped for. Starforge just partnered with Ducky and Jagex to deliver a very special RuneScape keyboard for the 25th anniversary.
RuneScape had
All of you
a
know I'm a huge
tournament
RuneScape
during the
enthusiast, a
weekend.
super fan, so I was just pretty pumped about this, so wanted to put it on your radar. If anyone out there also loves RuneScape and is looking for a new keyboard upgrade, pre-orders are available now at Starforge.
Was he in the tournament for RuneScape?
So anyway, back to Highguard. Overall, the game is just eh.
Yeah,
It's fine. Like I don't think it's nearly as terrible as
it's
people
not
are
a
making it
bad
out to be. Like
game.
this is one of the
Again, like I said, it's not a bad game, but it's not a great game. It's just like I said, you play it for a bit, you have your fun, you get bored, you uninstall, you never touch it again. It's that type of game.
worst FPS games of all time or something. It's just not
Yeah,
even close really. It's just very generic. And not in terms of like the actual gameplay mechanics because they actually do try something different. It's not a hero
yeah.
shooter, it's not a battle royale. It's a 3v3 raid skirmish. I don't even know what to really call it where you have a
I
prep
mean, it's it's like I don't know if Overwatch had this. I think it did. It pushed the payload where you had to. There's a point you have to capture this point. In Highguard, it's a sword, and then you take that point into the enemy base, right? It's basically that, but a bit different
phase where you reinforce
because there's the Valorant CS:GO phase where you plant the bomb.
things a la Rainbow Six Siege, except the reinforcements here are fucking worthless. Like,
Yeah,
basically, you take paper walls and you put
you put glue on
plastic
them.
on top of it.
Oh,
That's your reinforcement. You can still easily get through these
yeah.
reinforced walls. To me, it just feels like the prepping to defense is kind of useless. It doesn't really stop much, at least.
But from what I saw, it's mostly to stop you from shooting through, right? Like super fast. But then again, it's like it's worthless because there's a lot of hero abilities which just destroy them. Like the blonde guy, the fire guy, his ulti just destroys everything there. It's pretty useless.
Not so far in my experience, but you have this phase to prep like that. Then you have a resource gathering phase where you gear
Yeah.
up. So you go out in the world and you do some fucking Fortnite mining for materials, which you can spend at the trader for weapons and armor. And you can also
Or
find
there's also a Apex like loot boxes which you open and you like get armor and new weapons and all that.
loot out there for armor or uh,
There, he said it.
other weapons or even like ability cooldown type
Yeah.
stuff. Then after that, then you have the sword part, the shield breaker, where you and the other team will then fight to get the shield breaker. Whoever gets the shield breaker takes it to the other team's base, and then the raid begins. And what you want to do is plant bombs to blow up their base.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. It's kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different things put into this
Like I
mode.
said,
And I don't dislike it, but it feels
he's gonna say the same thing I did. It's not bad. Like they have something. It's just not polished enough to where it's like I want to keep doing this. You know what I mean? Like it's not to the point where you people want to play the game.
like some of it's entirely worthless. Like I mentioned,
There.
that prepping phase to like reinforce certain walls around the points. Like in theory, that's a decent idea, like in Siege, but here, at least in my limited experience so far, the reinforcing just doesn't really do a whole lot. Like, again, it feels like you're just reinforcing a wall with like some fucking saran wrap. Like, it doesn't juice it that much. What you use to blow up walls when they're not reinforced, you will still use to blow them up when they are, with
Really, I
pretty
didn't see
much
that.
a very close level of success.
But
So
yeah,
that
whatever.
feels like they could maybe do with an overhaul. The gearing phase also feels a little not super great.
From what I saw, the gearing is super simple. There's like four guns. Like there's a shotgun, a sniper, and the usual like rifle or whatever, or like semi-automatic. And like there's not a lot of variety in guns. Well, there are a lot of is maps, I'm pretty sure, right? Because from what I saw, like the guy I watched play the game, he didn't play the same like map twice, and he played for like
Because
2 or 3 hours.
as the rounds progress, like as the game goes forward, you can just buy what you want from the
Yeah,
trader. So you mainly just collecting the crystals is the more important part than trying to like hunt for random loot. And it seems like you all end up getting geared to the same level anyway by
yeah.
the end. So those two things I don't think are amazing, but
Also, the longer the game goes, the better the loot, like the boxes drop, I'm pretty sure. So it's like you don't really have to mine and do that. At least from what I saw. Like you can get legendaries later in the game during the prep phase. Yeah,
at least the horse makes this game feel faster than I thought it would be. I was
yeah.
under the impression this would be like Concord level molasses that you're playing through, where every character just moves at a fucking glacial pace. And then when I found out it's 3v3, I thought for sure this was going to be a snooze fest.
Yeah.
But thanks to like having a mount, you're able to get around pretty quick, so you're able to go from fight to fight. And during the actual raiding, you do respawn pretty quick, reviving is pretty quick, so it does feel much faster than I thought it would.
Yeah,
Movement is
more
still pretty
fast-paced.
slow. Like there's not a whole lot of like crazy movement tech that I've seen yet. I've tried like bunny hopping to a certain level and that kind of works.
Which is weird because it's from the creators of what's it called? Titanfall, which has, from what I've heard, insane movement, right? Like it's all about a movement from the clips and videos I've seen.
So maybe there's just more
So
unexplored
it's
tech
weird that they
there,
don't
but
have like
base
special
movement is
things.
pretty slow. And the big thing is the gunplay. This has been a contentious one because there's a lot of people that fucking hate it and some people that really like it. I think that it's solid. I actually thought the gunplay was pretty solid. I enjoyed it more than I expected to. It's not
It
the
didn't look
tightest.
bad, but
It
it didn't.
feels like
Yeah,
aiming sometimes fights against you because it's somewhat floaty, but overall, the guns did feel good. Like getting into a fight did feel enjoyable. Like I don't think the
nice.
gunplay is trash like a lot of people are saying. The big thing with gunplay though that holds it back is that there are certain things that this game is missing, which is why I'm saying that it feels kind of generic when it comes to its gameplay.
Yeah,
Like it has decent bones, but it's very
but no
bland.
flesh.
So because it's missing a lot of the flavor from some better shooters out there, this one just feels lackluster in comparison. But overall, I do think the shooting is just fine. Like I have no issues with the gunplay. Some of the abilities are cool too, I
But they're
suppose. I haven't
generic as
seen
well.
all of them, but the ones I've toyed around with seem pretty solid.
Yeah,
Really, at the end of our gaming session, the consensus Matt, Danny, and I drew was that that was more enjoyable than we expected going into it, though it's probably a game none of us are going to get like super into. I'm going, like I said, I'm going
yeah,
to stream more
exactly. You
tonight, so
play
we'll
it
see if
once,
maybe I
then
end up
never again.
falling in love with it somehow, some way. But for what I've experienced thus far, it's fine. Like it's just a fine game. There's nothing like particularly special about
Yep.
it, but it's definitely not like a really bad game that people are saying that it is. I really think Jeff Keighley fucked him. Like actually went in there and face
He did.
fucked him by putting Highguard at the very end of the Game Awards, where apparently based on a lot of like articles and stuff that have come out and talked about it,
Yeah, they didn't pay for it. Anyways, he fucked them, but at the same time, I do wonder, would as many people have played it if it wasn't like a this huge controversy around it? Because I do think a lot of people played it just so, it's like, oh, I have to play it or it's gonna where I'm never gonna be able to play it again because it's gonna be like Concord. It's gonna be shut down in like a week. You know what I mean?
They didn't even want to be there. Like they didn't
Yeah.
want that slot or anything. Jeff Keighley just felt so strongly about it that he made the decision to put him there.
He also
I don't know
like
if all of
made a
that's confirmed
tweet
or
or
not, but
something.
regardless, what is true is that their place at the end of the Game Awards, the most important slot in the most watched event.
Dude, I disagree. I feel like, dude, for the game show itself, it is the most important slot because it's what makes viewers stay and watch all the other like dog shit games and all that. But as a viewer, I couldn't care less about where it is. I just want to know what the good games were. Where, like, I still don't understand why people care that much that it was at the end.
For gaming.
I guess because they stayed up all night, like expecting something great, and they got that. But it's like, who cares, man? Just go to sleep, wake up the next day, like I did, see what games they announced, and then, continue with their life.
Went to Highguard, which puts a huge level of expectations on this product, and it puts so many eyes on it. So people
Yep.
were expecting something like really impressive, and this game isn't. Like it's
It's
fine. Like I
generic.
said, like there is
Yep.
some fun to be had there, but it's not like a game I can really see people like dedicating their lives to as like this is my comfort shooter now. I do think that there, like I said, are decent bones here. So if they do decide to build upon it, flesh it out, add more to it, improve certain things, and start to really, spruce it up a bit, maybe it could get to that point. But as it stands right now,
They should
not
have
really
released.
in that
They
state.
should have released it as a beta, not as like the full game. I feel like. And you might think, oh, what does that do? Well, it does change the perspective because when you're playing, well, thinking, oh yeah, this is not the full game. When it's released, it's gonna be so much better. You know what I mean?
And by
Like that does work on some people,
being in
on a
that
lot of
position at the
people
Game
actually.
Awards, it really did hamper them. It was a huge detriment because if this game was just shadow dropped or something, like if this game just like randomly came out today, like hey, from some of the creators of some of your favorite shooters like Titanfall, we
Yeah.
have this new studio and we've been working on this game and we want to
Jeff also hyped it up way too much. I feel like that's also like a negative.
share it with all of you today. Come give it a try. Let us know what you think as the game evolves. I think people will be a lot more receptive to it and a
Like
lot.
I'm pretty sure he released a tweet saying, uh, yeah, when you play, you're gonna like it so much, you're gonna apologize to me or something like that, right? Or
More
did he delete that? Maybe whatever.
enthusiastic about like maybe seeing this game improve down the line. But because it had so much hype at the Game Awards, people went in
What's
expecting
this?
something that this is just not really delivering on at the moment. Anyway, though, I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the game so far from the little bits that I've played, and I'm very curious to see how Highguard shakes out down the line. They already put like a 1 year roadmap out there, so it seems like they're pretty
1 year?
committed to it. I guess we'll
Hey,
see. But it did have a much more successful launch than Concord, so
yeah,
that's great.
it's probably gonna last more than Concord. Anyways, honestly, we had the same opinion, right? It's a fun game, but it's not a great game. It's not like the next Arc Raiders or something like that, right? Anyways, peace. I'm gonna leave the video link in the description so you can give it a like and subscribe to him. Have a good day and stay healthy because it is cold.